News Radio KMAN weather.
Light snow and 26 degrees currently in Manhattan with light winds to the southwest around 5 miles an hour. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of around 14. Going into tomorrow, sunny with a high near 41 and calm winds again to the southwest around 5 miles an hour in the afternoon. Tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of around 25. And this Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a high near 36 with winds that could gust as high as 20 miles an hour to the north. Up next, Wildcat Insider on News Radio KMAN.
Weather on News Radio KMAN is brought to you by Sunset Zoo. Memberships are a fun way to experience the zoo all year long and will make great gifts this holiday season.
The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. This is Wildcat Insider with the Mercury sports editor Tim Everson and KMAN sports director Mitch Fortner.
Well, I hope everybody had a great Turkey Day, and I hope everybody did their best to stay warm. If you made it out to Bill Center Family Stadium on Saturday, it was not a great, I say not great, it just wasn't a big crowd, as you can imagine, a 5-6 team, to where it wasn't so great to extend that sellout streak. It has come to an end at 25 games. The attendance announced on Saturday, 49,549, which is the tickets sold. Definitely not that many showed up, maybe a couple thousand here and there, but the Cats got it done, 24-14 over Colorado to get to bowl eligibility, 6-6 on the year. K-State men's basketball gets a top 60 net ranking with the first ranking coming out earlier today. And then coming up in hour number 2, we're going to hear from the voice of the Wildcats, Wyatt Thompson. And we do have a K-State men's basketball game tonight. Bowling Green is in town. It'll be the first time in 20 years that K-State men's basketball will play a game against a team out of the MAC. Phone lines, text lines are open, 785-537-1350. Of course, we have plenty of time for questions and comments. The only time the phone lines are not open is when Wyatt Thompson is coming on at 5:10. Now, with that being said, not a ton of reaction to the Colorado game. I do want to get to some comments made by Chris Kleiman and Avery Johnson after the game, but some breaking news hitting at 4 o'clock today. Just came out. I've not had a chance to really read through all of this. I think it's an effort that we saw coming with NIL and of course, the recent adjustments last summer, the continuing growth of revenue share. Or is that the right word?
Revenue share.
Revenue share. The Wildcats paying the players, the $20.5 million for this academic year. But the opening line here says, as college athletics continues to evolve within the new era of revenue sharing, K-State Athletics and Wildcat NIL have announced a consolidation of NIL efforts and will absorb the roles and responsibilities of Wildcat NIL moving forward in order to centralize and streamline giving opportunities. I did feel like this was coming. I think we did have this conversation back in the summer that this could probably happen because of the new revenue sharing rules, and now K-State's themselves are in control of everything. The other paragraph that did catch my attention, it seems like K-State's kind of launching their own Patreon with this new thing called Cats Plus. This is going to launch in January. It's a new subscription-based service that will provide fans a direct path to support Wildcat student-athletes while also seeing benefits in return. The service, available on a monthly or yearly plan, will include behind-the-scenes access, special features highlighting K-State student-athletes and coaches via videos, podcasts, special K-State Sports Extra articles by D. Scott Fritchen, early access to digital and product-based items, exclusive digital content, classic game replays, and enter to win sweepstakes for experiences and products. I had actually just probably a couple of months ago pitched a K-State game replay YouTube account. I felt like that could get a ton of subscribers and go that route of trying to make some extra cash through the YouTube route. I know that's really working out for some folks, but this is another way to go about it as well. You get a little bit more than just the game replay. So, you want to go ahead, Tim, on that?
I mean, it's interesting for sure. I think that, Chris Kleiman acknowledged after, K-State's win over Colorado, it's, it's the teams that are spending the money that are winning the games. And so K-State needs to make sure that it's putting itself in the best position to try and compete with those teams. And I don't know if they'll ever be in a position where they're spending like Texas Tech, but if you
probably
can,
not.
If you can be in that second tier, and be fighting for that second spot in the Big 12 championship game, that's where, I think fans expect K-State to be. And then on the basketball side, I think we've seen that they are, it's you're less players that you have to deal with, and so they're able to kind of compete with, all of the other teams in the country in terms of like getting those high profile guys out of the portal. It's kind of the next step is to get, those high profile guys out of high school. That's not quite where they're at yet, but it's interesting. The Cats Plus thing is I'm going to need to see more to fully, have judgment. I know that this was something that the NIL services attempted to do something like this in the past as a subscription service of sorts. I think that it was maybe at a price point that was a little too much for a lot of people, and so a lot of people didn't do it. I don't know how much they ended up being able to do. I think that in general, having K-State be over all of it does make it all cleaner, and you don't have to worry about bouncing back and forth between the NIL and the athletic department. Having it all in-house will make things probably run a little smoother. I'm curious whenever you end up talking to Curry Sexton, hear what all he has to say. He is quoted in the press release just talking about how they felt like it was time for NIL stuff to go in-house. But they'll be hiring someone to kind of oversee this branch of things. It'll be curious to see if that's someone from Wildcat NIL or if they're going to figure out something else. But I appreciate the fact that they're doing something to, try and, bridge the gap a little bit, because I think, K-State fans saw this year that the depth was not where it needed to be to compete at the higher level in this conference, and that's just not gonna fly moving forward if you want to play big-time college football.
Well, and let me make this very clear. If K-State athletics wants to succeed at a high level, $20.5 million is not going to cut it.
No.
That it just can't be the $20.5 million of revenue share, the cap, and that going, being distributed to all the sports. That's not going to win you many championships. It's got to be a lot more on top of that. That, as K-State states here, has to be true third-party NIL deals and that are approved in advance by NIL Go. We know, Texas Tech, they made a lot of deals before the July 1st deadline of the revenue share cap and all that stuff, but so many universities are still going to go way over that cap. Maybe not way over for everybody, but still over to try to win championships, try to win games, and try to make runs to the college football playoff. That's going to take a lot more money than what $20.5 million going out to a lot of sports will get you. I think that's clear, and K-State's going to have to get, this is a part of what needs to be a pretty big jump start to a new era, for sure. This is one way to get those involved that maybe don't have the millions of dollars they're going to be donating, but they can put in a little bit, have a small piece of be a part of the club, be a part of the Wildcat fan base that is donating, and you get a little something back. The D. Scott Friction articles, I think, have been always free, and now it looks like, for whatever I don't know what the prices are. I don't know what you're going to have to pay for this, monthly or yearly Cats Plus, but there is, you're not giving all this money and not getting anything back, for those that may worry that. Well, I've seen K-State basketball spend all this money on these guys, and we're not winning. We're losing seasons. We're not getting back to the NCAA tournament. And
One thing I will say, Mitch, that is interesting. And this isn't a shot at K-State. It's happening at universities across the country. These, in-house, attempts at creating like a media company, basically. I mean, that's what, talking about the articles, talking about podcasts, videos, stuff. That's all, it's all well and good when things are rolling and teams are winning. The problem is, you worry about when things don't go well, when things happen that aren't good. It is not the function of those types of entities to report on that kind of stuff. It's just not. It's not what local media does. It's not what that they're not going to do. Their podcasts are going to be different when K-State loses than something that we would do. The articles are going to be different than something that the Manhattan Mercury or the Eagle or the Star or the Capital Journal. The podcast stuff is going to be different than the folks at KSO and Go Power Cat and all that stuff. So it's I don't know. It just feels like we're turning more and more kind of insular almost, and I feel like that will have eventually it will have an effect on you as a fan. And the amount of information that you're able to get about these programs and behind the scenes, because like I said, when they're winning, it's all great. But when it's not great, and it's not going to be great, that's just how eventually there will be questions that need to be answered. That's not what these types of things are going to be able to do. And so I find it interesting as K-State kind of expands that a little bit. It's going to open. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, and the landscape of kind of local media that covers K-State. This is going to affect that in a way. We'll have to see exactly what all they do to figure out how much it does, but I think it will affect it.
I think you might have to hire more than just a person or two to fill all these demands and what you're going to promise, what you're going to get with this Cats Plus thing. You bring up a very interesting point though about. Podcasts and all this special content going to be different than what the other. I shouldn't really say other, just what the media can provide. The podcast hosts across, there's so many K-State podcasts out there now. Really don't consider our show a podcast. We're a daily radio show. Nobody else is doing 5 days a week for 2 hours every day, with sometimes the exception of football season when we got to go places on a Friday. But like for an example, I thought Wildcat NIL really had something going really well. With the podcast, they didn't do a ton. Like Curry Sexton was doing interviews, and they got one of the best interviews I thought we've seen from any K-State podcast, maybe ever. That was with Dylan Edwards, and Dylan went into he went kind of in the behind the scenes on from Derby to K-State to Notre Dame to Colorado and then back to K-State and that kind of whole journey, and that was pretty exclusive stuff. But I don't know if that's what probably that kind of content. First of all, that's few and far between. You don't get that very often. But it will be very K-State friendly stuff, obviously. Not too much into the weeds, not too much into the drama. But behind the scenes stuff would obviously just be like practices and stuff and coach interviews, things like you don't see on a normal daily basis. I would imagine that's what's going to look like. And with whatever this monthly fee is going to be, that goes in support of, K-State's revenue share and Cats Plus and NIL efforts. You'll get to see, I guess, a little some of that. But I don't know what's going to look like. Like, ESPN over the years with ESPN Plus have done a number of shows and a number of behind-the-scenes and docu-series, that type of thing. Like, I hope K-State does get very creative to make this, worthwhile for, people's hard-earned money. They're going to want a little something back. I understand, but there's a lot of stuff listed here. They're kind of setting a high bar, I think, for this Cats Plus.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Now they have, as far as, video and photo side of things.
It's like a Cameo, maybe. You could order a Cameo through K-State.
But no, they have, the creative staff on that side. They got a lot of folks that can be producing that kind of content.
For sure.
The other stuff, I mean, it's, D. Scott does what he does, and, but he's not going to be doing, podcasts and stuff like that, most likely. So there'll be they're going to have to find more people. That's going to cost, money to do that. I don't know. It is interesting for sure. I am curious to see how they plan on rolling it out. It looks like they're planning on rolling it out, next
January.
year. Yeah. So, that's not far away.
No, it is. It's a gamble, right? It's a gamble to make money. It's a gamble to, really boost the NIL funds at, K-State. Chris Klein, I'll play you the clip right now. After the game, Mason Voth from K-State or from PowerCat Game Day and from KSO, K-State Online, was asking maybe some of the hard-hitting questions that K-State fans were asking to hear. And so, one of the comments was about money, or it was brought up about money. So I'll play the clip right now. This was Chris Kleiman after the game about, the direction of college football and how to win.
Money that's going to win. Team's got the most money should win right now until we can get that thing squared away. And guys, I'm going to go have a beer here in a minute, so we ain't going to get on a soapbox right now. But you guys are smart enough to realize the ones that have the most money have the best players, and they're spending $40 and $50 million. The ones like us that don't, man, we got to scratch and fight and claw like a lot of the other ones to try to get in position to be successful. And until it changes, and I don't know if it'll ever change, the rich are going to get richer.
Yeah, once again, $20.5 million this year, not going to cut it. 21 point whatever it is next year is not going to be enough to win a lot of football games. Let's take a timeout, and when we come back, we'll talk about a little bit about the Colorado game and K-State finishing 6-6. And we're going to hear more from Chris Kleiman and Avery Johnson after a break on Wildcat Insider.
You're listening to Wildcat Insider.
This holiday season, experience the magical sound of Celtic Woman. Celtic Woman Symphony Christmas Tour 2025. Friday, December 5th, Kansas State University McCain Auditorium. Featuring Celtic Woman's favorite Yuletide songs with the thrilling sound of a full symphony orchestra. Tickets on sale now at mccain.k-state.edu. Celtic Woman Symphony Christmas Tour 2025.
Visiting the 7-4 Lions. Both teams look like Super Bowl contenders, but living in the NFC North means nothing comes easy. One stumble could turn that hopeful season into a mad scramble for a wild card berth. Then, at 4:30 Eastern, there's the pressure tightening on the Kansas City Chiefs, who sit at 6-5, still searching for the rhythm that once made them terrifying. Across the field, the surging 5-1 Cowboys, who suddenly look dangerous again. Both teams essentially playing playoff football in late November. And of course, there's the Ravens at 6-5, now with Lamar Jackson fighting to hold on to their place in the brutal AFC North. It's a lot of drama for November, but it's the kind of drama fans will be thankful for this Thanksgiving. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
For area high school scores, recaps, league standings, and coach interviews, check out Scoreboard Saturday at 8 a.m. during football and basketball season, including coverage of the Centennial League, NCKL, Big East League, Flint Hills League, and the Twin Valley League. Scoreboard Saturday on News Radio KMAN is powered by WTC Communications.
James was diagnosed at 3 months old with neuroblastoma. We went from thinking we had a healthy 3-month-old little boy. All of a sudden, he had this super serious cancer. It was heartbreaking. He had chemotherapy until he was just under a year old, and at that point, he was in remission.
Went that way for a year and then relapsed February of 2023. And here we are 1 year later, finishing up treatment, hopefully.
The research is extremely important. The treatments that they're developing here get shared with all the doctors to help treat children worldwide.
It's contributing something like one more piece of the puzzle to curing this horrible disease. We all want the same thing. We all want our children to live, have long, meaningful lives.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
I'm Gavin Hyatt with a Wildcat Insider Sports Update brought to you by Bottle Cap Sports Bar. A strong second half in winter conditions sent K-State football out of regular season on a high note Saturday as the Wildcats fought past Colorado for a 24-14 win on Senior Day. Coming off a record-setting performance in K-State's heartbreaking loss at Utah, running back Joe Jackson ran for 142 yards on 26 carries, good for 5.5 yards per touch. He also scored on 3 of K-State's touchdowns. Avery Johnson added 36 yards on the ground. Avery had 115 yards through the air on 10 of 17 passing. He made a comment post-game about his future.
Just being a Kansas kid and coming to K-State and playing for Coach Kleiman has been great up to this point. And like you said, there's going to be question marks and this, that, and the other. And I mean, obviously, there's things that are going to be taken into account, but there's no doubt in my mind I want to play for Coach Kleiman, and this is the place I want to be. But just things I got to talk to my family about and pray about. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I'm committed to this place, and I love this place more than anything in the world. So definitely something I'm just going to sit down with my family about tomorrow.
K-State wrapped up the regular season with 6 wins, which clinched the bowl berth for the 5th straight season. Coming off losses to Nebraska and Indiana, 5-2 K-State men's basketball opened a 3-game homestand tonight to host 5-2 Bowling Green in Bramlage. Tonight's tip at 7, pregame on 6 on 101.5 K-Rock and News Radio KMAN.
Wildcat Insider continues. Mitch Fortner, Tim Everson from the Manhattan Mercury, and PowerCat Game Day. We got Gavin Hyde across the glass giving you the game sports updates. Again, the breaking news, Wildcat NIL is now going in-house to K-State. K-State also launching Cats Plus, monthly and yearly subscription to behind-the-scenes stuff, podcasts, a number of things, but also your money going towards NIL support for the K-State student-athletes. We have Curry Sexton on during the football season every week for the most part. He'll come on then off and on when it's not football season to talk Wildcat NIL. Actually, I brought it up last week because we hadn't had him on PowerCat Game Day all year, so I wanted him to talk NIL efforts, and that makes it a little bit more awkward because he was on last week, and now it sounds like he's no longer going to really be a part of that. But, Jace Friesen, Pearson McAtee, Ryan Hinnington, those guys from Wildcat on NIL for, what's it been now, 4 years? 4-ish years? 5? I can't remember when it all really launched. Those guys went to work for K-State. Those guys went to battle and to help K-State be stabilized and even take steps forward in this new era of college athletics through name, image, and likeness. And man, those guys raised millions of dollars, big money for K-State athletics to be where you would want them to be, to go get great recruits in football and basketball, of course they've been, it's for all sports of K-State athletics as well, where you've had your opportunity to donate as well. So now, as far as I understand, now this is, obviously the number one guy here, Gene Taylor. This is on now, Gene, to get some very big-time fundraising done with this coming in-house. And I don't want to say like K-State athletics hasn't done their bit as well. I still don't know exactly who gets the tip of the cap here, but like, for example, let's see, PJ Haggerty. I don't think, if I remember correctly, if Curry told us this, if it was him or not, if Wildcat NIL had a big part in that. But Coleman Hawkins, that $2 million, Wildcat NIL really didn't have a lot to do with that one.
No.
So millions of dollars have come from other places other than Wildcat NIL. But it goes back to what I said earlier, like The Cats Plus thing, okay, cool. I don't know how much that's going to bring in, but we'll see. I mean, it's we're not going to know for a while exactly what that's going to look like. I'm not even sure, how that's all going to work quite yet. But to make it, K-State, how long ago was it when KU got their big donation? There's what is it, $50 million?
Yeah. Like a year ago.
Like
Roughly.
to make it and to be more comfortable with the future, that's what a school like K-State needs. They need the big donors that have, the big bags, we'll call it that, the big money bags, the deep pockets, to step up and make a contribution to K-State. I wish I knew all of K-State's donors. I could go talk to them if you need me to. I used to be a salesman once upon a time, but that's what K-State is going to need. And if that's Gene that has to do that, then, now is the time that moves need to be made, because obviously football is not going in the right direction right now. Chris Kleiman with a couple of references that they need to really beef up the depth of this team, and they need to be more prepared for bad things to happen and be ready to combat that a little bit better moving forward.
And losing one of your 2 4-star recruits a week before signing day doesn't really help.
Well, I mean, in K-State lost, what was it? Yeah, that was, Justin Morales. Was that yesterday that news came out? One of K-State's 4-star recruits. He is one of 2 commits for K-State that flipped their commitment to Arizona. So Justin Morales is out. We knew about Hannibal Navies. That's not, I guess, as bad, but, Justin Morales was a big one. Like, that was a top 3 or 4 guy in your class. You did not want to see him go, and now Brent Brennan has come in and taken away 2 recruits from you. And that sucks, because who thinks Brent Brennan is a great coach? Who thinks Brent Brennan is going to have Arizona next year in the conversation for the Big 12 championship? I don't know. I'm shocked they got to 8 wins this year. Is it 8 or 9? Maybe 9. Jeez, Mason calls him a schedule merchant. I don't remember who they all played. But on top of that, K-State did pick up a couple of JUCO recruits from Hutch.
Yes.
Who's probably going to win the JUCO National Championship. Derek Sally Jr. is a wide receiver. He's 6'4", the number 1 wide receiver at the JUCO ranks. I'm very excited about him because I've seen his highlights. The kid is a stud. 41 catches this year for 726 and 12 touchdowns. The number 2 safety in America is coming to K-State from Hutch as well. MJ Graham, who's 6 foot and has 6 interceptions, 5 tackles for loss, 31 tackles this year. So, yes, losing a 4-star is a blow, but is signing day that exciting this year? Even K-State has right now the 44th ranked class.
Yeah.
For according to Rivals, you still got a couple of 4-stars. Lawson McGraw is going to join us on Wednesday here on the show to talk signing with the Cats. You bring up a couple of JUCO guys. Obviously, the transfer portal is gigantic heading into next year.
Yeah, that's going to be where things happen, especially since K-State's Lawson is great. That's a very exciting in-state signing, but you don't have kind of the usual excitement around in-state stuff that you would hope. So yeah, it's just gonna be it's gonna be mainly transfer portal focused. I know I saw they also are in on the top wide receiver, JUCO wide receiver in the country, trying to get him flipped over from West Virginia, I believe.
Well, I guess that it depends on where you look, because I had Derek Sally down as the number 1 JUCO wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it may be a difference between Rivals and in 24/7, but Derek Sally Jr. is quite the stud. I don't have a whole lot to say about the game against Colorado.
No, not really.
It was a miserable day. Any fan that stuck around and was there for the full 60 minutes, I applaud you. You are a K-State fan. You are true and true. You're a ride or die, and I appreciated everybody that was there for the game to support the Cats, to support Dr. Frank Trace in his last game, bring the pride of Wildcat land out onto the field for the final time under his leadership. There at Bill Snyder Family Stadium, did the read between the first and second quarter. And Chris Clement runs over to the north end zone to give him a hug, right?
Yep. Which some people, I think, overreacted about. Guys, it was fine. It was
not a big deal at all. We're buds.
It was fine. And it was nice. It was a nice moment. Went over there, took a picture with him and his family, ran back.
The offensive line was cheeks in the first half. Second half was better. My big takeaway is Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
He is working his absolute ass off right now for K-State. Last 2 games, 50 carries in the last 2 games, 435 yards and 6 touchdowns. I would never have guessed that we reached the regular season with hardly having Dylan Edwards all year, and K-State would have a near 1,000-yard rusher.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson's 89 yards away from 1,000 on the year. Big thanks, of course. Over 200 yards, of course, against, a record 293 against Utah. A huge day. That's a big boost there. But now he's, the last couple of games, he's averaging 5.5 yards per carry. The numbers look pretty decent. Now, I still think you go out and try to find a number 1 running back, but he's a one-cut guy for so long. He just wasn't showing off the true skills you would want to see out of a running back when the offensive line is struggling. He's, like I said, he's a one-cut guy. He's not a shake and bake type of guy, but I tell you what, the Colorado game, there's hardly any holes for him to run through. So he had to kind of make some himself. He had to absorb a ton of contact to fight for those yardage. Ever since before the Utah game, his longest run was 18, 19 yards. And ever since the Utah game, he's been way more reliable. He has made the offensive line look really good, especially in the Colorado game. So, tell you what, Joe Jackson, to me, might be the most improved player of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it's funny because I think that the expectations were high for him to start the season. I think that people kind of thought that he would be coming in at kind of a higher level, and it took him a little bit. But, man, look, it's not – he's the first K-State running back to have back-to-back 3 rushing touchdown games since Alex Barnes, I think.
Yeah.
That's not nothing. That's, Deuce didn't do that. Dylan didn't do that. DJ didn't do that. Sure. What else was K-State able to do offensively on Saturday except for pound the ball and try to get some yards? But
I was begging for a few more passing plays in there. Let Tibbs kind of do his thing. I didn't want to pass it too far downfield. The wind was such a factor, but anyway, it doesn't really matter.
No. It is what it is. It was an uninspiring win, but it was a win. It felt not as bad as the Oklahoma State one did, but it was in that vein of, just be glad that you won and let's not talk about this again, because it was ugly. Defense was fine, although not. It didn't have the turnover success that they did at Oklahoma State. That was just Colorado's just bad. First of all, Colorado's not good.
Well, I was a little annoyed by a couple of times you heard the comment of, well, in the second half the offensive line just wore them down. Guys, this is the 3rd worst rushing defense in America you just played against.
Yeah,
and you had to wear them down to go get an 8 or 9 yard run. That was a bit frustrating. So, again, the inconsistency of the offensive line. I've been getting the question so often now. It's what's been the big reason why K-State wasn't successful this year? It's probably 15 reasons. It's all a little bit of everything. My mind always goes back to the offensive line and no George Fitzpatrick, and it just never got really that good. Pass protection, I was actually happy with for most of the year, but the rush blocking, the run blocking was never really that good. Here's Chris Kleiman, was asked about his thoughts on a 6-6 season.
By no means are we satisfied. But in this era of college football, on an off year for K-State, and we can go to, I don't know how many bowls we've been to in a row. Seriously, we've been to a lot of bowls in a row. And I know that we have high expectations for crying out loud. We won the Big 12 in 2022, and if you don't do that now, it's a poor season. And I get that, but I can't tell you how proud I am to be 2-4, lose a lot of our best football players, and nobody tanked it in there.
Here's Avery Johnson on his thoughts on having a 6-6 season.
I don't think we're a 6-6 team as far as coaching and talent level, but when you can't find ways to win games, that's just kind of what your record looks like. And I mean, I'm a big Chiefs fan, and I saw the statistic of before the Indianapolis Colts game, they hadn't won a one-score game all year, and last year they were undefeated in one-score games, and that's the difference between being a 15-2 team or back to 6-6 now. So it's just how football is sometimes, man, and got to be more mentally locked into the details so that we can win those games because we are capable of doing that.
Yeah, 7 one-score games this year for K-State. 7 one-score games. And as I count them up here real quick, K-State was 2-5 in one-score games this year. I think the Chiefs are a little bit worse this year. They're not winning the one-score games. There can actually be a pretty big difference in a team that's winning these one-score games and winning by 6 or 7 every week, and a team that's losing one-score games and losing by 3, 6, 7, 8 points every single week. There could be very major differences, but you're lacking one of the key pieces to what makes a good team. It's figuring out to win a football game. From coaches to players and adjustments and scheme and execution. What makes a good football team is the teams figure out how to win those games. And I think more often than not, K-State was shooting itself in the foot. It wasn't always what the opponent was doing. K-State was hurting themselves a lot of the time on not executing on offense and, defense with some poor tackling. I don't really have a lot of bad things to say about the defense this year. Again, the injuries did add up. I was a little suspect there early on, especially against North Dakota. I was a little worried about that. Army couldn't get off the field. Oh, no. We're wore down. We don't have the skill. We moved to 4-down linemen, and it's not working that well. Despite getting a few sacks here and there, the sack numbers look good early. Thought that maybe one thing that went downhill was some of the form tackling. That honestly was not catching a whole lot of traction there in the second half of the year. But anyway, Tim, I have so many thoughts on a 6-6 season that I'm barely scratching the surface. I probably need an hour tomorrow to go over everything that I think has played into effect of a 6-6 season. Really, my thought here is I just want to get this season over with. I can't wait for this bowl game to get behind us and move on because I'm glad Coach brought some light to the disappointment. This has been an extremely disappointing year. 6-6 doesn't feel like what 6-6 probably used to be, especially with bowl games at this point, especially if you're 6-6, whichever you're going to go to. I call it the Go-Gurt Who Cares Bowl. K-State fans who used to travel better than anybody else are not going to travel probably to whatever this bowl game is going to be. It feels like a 4-win season at best. We're all ready to just kind of be done and ready to move on. It's just now who stays, who leaves, who does K-State get. Those are way more factors right now than whatever this bowl game is going to turn out to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a game, so anytime that you play a game, you want to win, and that's great and whatever. But yeah, the bigger questions are, who takes that next step during bowl prep, who becomes, who kind of steps up, who's the Zayshawn Rich of this year, who's the freshman that's going to be playing in a major factor next season. Do those guys like Zayshawn, do they take the next step? Do they get a little better? Who do you lose? Who do you keep? That's gonna be huge. Does a guy like Jace Brown want to look at NFL stuff instead of transferring at all? That's having him back is a huge catalyst to kind of what this season is going to be next year. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of questions. Not a lot of them can be solved by playing, Kennesaw State or Louisiana Tech or Navy in a bowl game.
I'll play one more clip here from Avery Johnson talking about his future, and then I'll give my reaction, and we'll go to a break. Here's Avery Johnson.
Just being a Kansas kid and coming to K-State and playing for Coach Kleiman has been great up to this point. And like you said, there's going to be question marks and this, that, and the other. And I mean, obviously, there's things that are going to be taken into account, but there's no doubt in my mind I want to play for Coach Kleiman, and this is the place I want to be. But just things I got to talk to my family about and pray about. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I'm committed to this place, and I love this place more than anything in the world. So definitely something I'm just going to sit down with my family about tomorrow.
Yeah, if K-State's whole team, there might not be anybody more loyal to K-State than Avery Johnson. Last year when the whole Nico Iamaleava thing at Tennessee happened, Tennessee, I'm sure, came after Avery a lot like a lot of other teams did, through tampering and all that. Avery stayed here at K-State. I think the door could be, it's cracked open. Avery's going to listen to some other offers, I'm sure. He might entertain those. K-State will have to step up in that area, I'm sure, if they want to keep Avery around. Avery's going to entertain this, and with that being said, I think there's nobody right now, I would say, is just from limited knowledge, don't know how many conversations K-State has had at this point. Nobody is probably safe from truly staying like that. I don't feel like there's any guarantees that there's going to be this player is we're good to go for next year.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that he left it. He said it exactly the right way. If you're him,
Yeah.
I want to be here. I love this place. But we gotta, if certain things have to be the way they need to be, and what those things are private between Avery and his family and the coaches. But I would just say that for K-State to have a bounce back year next year, I don't think that you want to be shopping in the portal for a starting quarterback.
No, I don't want to lose Avery. Oh my gosh.
No, I think you want to be building things around your 3-year starting senior quarterback and trying to get him to have his best season that he's ever had. That is the best way for K-State to have a bounce back year next season, is being led by a senior Avery Johnson.
We'll take a timeout when we come back. Last week in the Big 12, plus still to come in hour number 2. Men's basketball talk, of course, plus Bowling Green is in town for a 7 o'clock tip-off. Voice of the Cats, Wyatt Thompson, is at 5:10. Last week in the conference is after these words.
You're listening to Wildcat Insider.
Whether it's game day or a night out with great live music, Bottle Cap Sports Bar delivers the atmosphere you're looking for. It's Manhattan's go-to spot for catching every Wildcats or Chiefs game and enjoying live music that plays the songs you actually know. Come early for a good seat, great music, and cold drinks served up right. Stay in the loop. Check out their Facebook page for the full schedule of events. Bottle Caps, where the music's live, the game's always on, and the vibe is just right.
Bottle Cap Sports Bar located on West Anderson across from Dairy Queen.
Little Apple Chorus and Heartland Harmony presents Holiday Harmonies. This year's concert will be Sunday, December 14th in Forum Hall at the K-State Student Union. The doors open at 2:30 and the show starts at 3 p.m. This is sure to be a musical afternoon. Tickets are just $15 or purchase a family pass for $50. Tickets can be purchased from a chorus member in advance or $20 the day of the event. Don't miss Holiday Harmonies with Little Apple Chorus and Heartland Harmony, Sunday, December 14th in Forum Hall at K-State Student Union.
At IHOP, the celebration doesn't stop when the game ends. After every high school football game, IHOP invites you to stack the score. For every touchdown our team puts on the board, you get one free pancake. No strings attached. It's just a fun way to keep the energy alive, gather with friends, and bring the whole community together over the food everybody loves. So when the team scores big, come get your plate stacked high. Celebrate every touchdown this season with IHOP Stack the Score. Check it out at the IHOP in Manhattan or Junction City.
At Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care is right around the corner.
Stormont Vale Health is more than just a hospital. We're an essential part of your community. Our commitment to quality healthcare means investing in the most skilled and talented providers and cutting-edge medical technology. Our investment in your well-being doesn't stop there. We also support various nonprofit programs throughout the communities we serve. Visit StormontVale.org and discover how we can serve you.
Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care, closer to home.
Manhattan Broadcasting is an equal opportunity employer. In order to widely publicize our job opportunities and outreach programs and organizations that regularly distribute information to job seekers or refers candidates to employers, please contact us about our employment contact list to receive the most current information about station vacancies. For more information or to be added to the list, please contact Manhattan Broadcasting Company at 785-776-1350. Visit us at 2414 Casement Road in Manhattan, Kansas, or email frontdesk at 1350kman.com.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, You breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans, and without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
The Wildcats.
3 wide open again, and it's perfect again.
Hit the court.
To the rim, layup good.
Right here.
Yeah. How about these Cats?
Be here every game as the Wildcats pounce the hardwood all season long.
3 seconds, 2, 1, buzzer, ball game. K-State wins it.
On your home for Kansas State Wildcat basketball, the K-State Sports Network from Learfield. News Radio KMAN. News Radio KMAN. Weather.
Overcast skies and 27 currently in Manhattan with light winds to the west around 8 miles an hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low of around 14. Sunny with a high near 41 on Tuesday with calm winds in the southwest around 5 miles an hour in the afternoon. Tuesday night, increasing clouds with a low of around 25, and going into Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a high near 36 with winds that could gust as high as 20 miles an hour in the north.
We need to hold a quick funeral real quick for the one and only JD6. Jalen Daniels, his KU career has come to an end, and he did not disappoint against Utah. I mean, some of the ugliest interceptions you'll see this season in college football, a pick six, a throw to the end zone that was easily intercepted when he should have thrown it away. There was somebody filming in the north end zone there at the booth. The play was right in front of them, and they just kind of turned around the camera on them and just a shocked look. What are you doing, Jalen? 31 interceptions in his 6 seasons. 6 seasons at KU. Not full. I mean, really just 3, maybe 2.5. If I add up all the games, I'd have to go look. I don't think it adds up to 4 years. It's kind of like an Aoka Lee situation.
Yeah, exactly.
6 or 7 years, but if you add up all the games, you maybe get to 4 seasons of what was played. But Aoka Lee at her job was way better than Jalen Daniels, and Jalen's going to go down as maybe the best quarterback in KU history. But he was very Jalen Daniels against and that loss to Utah.
Yeah, Yoki got better and better as she got older, as long as she was healthy, and Jalen Daniels, healthier or unhealthy, just kind of kept going. Getting worse and worse, and preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, folks. That Jalen Daniels. That happened.
31-21, Utah wins. Now, I will say, I don't think Utah is doing themselves any favors. With the college football playoff. I think they've played their way out. Like, they're not looking like a playoff type of team. But, I mean, I have a lot to say, by the way, about the treatment from ESPN and about the Big 12 and, of course, the resumes, like especially compared to BYU, and how you put BYU next to them. All of a sudden, BYU looks like the second best resume when it comes to the teams that could be going on the road for the first round of the college football playoff. Anyway, Arizona beats Arizona State 23-20. Bad day for Arizona State. They have 5 turnovers in the game. Jess Sims with 3 interceptions. Texas Tech, they're into the Big 12 title game as well, along with BYU. 49-0 that win for Texas Tech. Just a demolishing effort there in Morgantown. BYU, they're down 14-0 early in this game. They come back to win against UCF 41-21. I would hope that would not have them slide back with a 20-point win at home against UCF.
No, I would hope not. I would hope not either.
Who was playing for bowl eligibility? I don't know if that, I think it was 5.5. I think that was the win total over-under for Scott Frost in his first year. He hits the under in dramatic fashion. Let's see if we got anything else notable. Oklahoma State, those poor bastards. I know they got their new head coach, and Eric Morris, yes, he's impressive, but they for the second straight year, no wins in Big 12 play.
Yeah, it's tough.
Iowa State got them 20-13.
1-11. What a year. What a time.
Old Doug, though, that defense got better.
It did. It did.
Got better.
David Bowen, man.
Some notes in Big 12 basketball. Number 15, Iowa State. They went 3-0 in the Players Era Festival. Beat St. John's. They beat Creighton. They beat Syracuse. KU went 3-0 with wins over Notre Dame, Syracuse, and Tennessee. That was a 5-point win over Rick Barnes, right?
Yeah, Tennessee, yes.
And then BYU, they won the ESPN Events Invitational, beating Miami and beating Dayton. That's going to wrap it up for Hour 1 of Wildcat Insider. Got any questions for us, comments? Text us 785-537-1350. Wyatt Thompson is next.
Change begins in the light within.
Enter the mystery January 31st. Light MHK presents The Light Within, a phantom's ball for change. Beneath the masks and chandeliers lies a greater purpose, raising funds for those who need mental health care and hope. Bid in the live and silent auctions and let your generosity light the way. Find your mask, find your light, find your tickets at lightmhk.com. That's lightmhk.com. Presented by Manhattan Broadcasting and Light MHK.
Hi, this is Carrie Hall. My wife Lauren and I are senior citizens like many of you. We've had a Blue Cross and Blue Shield Medicare policy for the last 10 years. Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement plans all across Kansas, with many with zero or very low premium. Call today at 866-692-3077 or online at bcbskansas.com. We pride ourselves on being your hometown carrier. We're Main Street, not Wall Street.
Not available in Wyandotte or Johnson County.
I'm PJ Glasser, host of Send It In, here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM network. After a jam-packed week of college hoops, the national championship futures market is starting to take shape. Michigan is your new favorite at BetMGM at plus 700, followed by Purdue at plus 900 and Duke at 11-1. However, I think the best bet is Houston at 11-1. Now is a good time to buy in on the Cougars, who will only get better as the season rolls along. I'm PJ Glasser, host of Send It In on the BetMGM network. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today, and please gamble responsibly.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
If you've missed the Kim Komando Show, you've missed a lot.
Yeah, they forced Claude to unlearn all the information it got from the pirated technology.
And it's a $1.5 billion landmark settlement. A reader from the current newsletter sent me a note. He put his name in. He made $6,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not bad for getting a free newsletter.
America's digital goddess.
Kim Komando. Kim Komando. Saturday mornings at 9 on News Radio, KMAN. KS State Bank offers convenient services to help make life a little easier. Visit ksstate.bank to learn more. KS State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. KMAN, Manhattan.
CBS News Brief. The White House says a Navy admiral directed the second strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean back in September. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was totally destroyed and the threat to the narco-terrorists to the United States was eliminated.
There were 2 reported survivors of the first strike, which raised questions about whether the second was lawful. A powerful storm system is sweeping across the northern U.S. Meteorologist Jessica Birch.
59 million Americans right now are all feeling the brunt of the storm as we're gearing up for winter weather advisories widespread from Oklahoma all the way up into the Ohio Valley and all the way up into the Northeast New England areas, too.
The storm caused a lot of travel delays.
We had a connecting flight, right, and that was delayed. It was just messy, right, so they had to change our entire reservation.
CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
Now, the latest news from the News Radio KMAN and Manhattan Mercury Newsroom.
A snow update in Manhattan. Raleigh County Commissioners received an update Monday on a new relocation program. Raleigh County Police arrested a Manhattan woman early Monday. Residents should now have their 2025 property tax statements. And a Manhattan man flown to Casey for treatment of multiple injuries. I'm Nathan Gaddy with your 5 o'clock news. Snow has caused a number of disruptions for commuters in the Manhattan area. Local law enforcement have reported numerous slide-offs and crashes as motorists navigate the first major winter weather event of the year. A spokesperson with the Raleigh County Police Department said about 20 accidents were reported Monday morning, though none of them involved any serious injuries. RCPD activated its emergency accident reporting phase, which allows patrons some grace time to report non-injury crashes and crashes that do not involve hit and run, DUI, or any alcohol or drug-related crimes. In Potawatomi County, crews have been working this morning to clear the roadway from obstruction after an incident involving an oversized load on Lake Elbow Road on the hill just north of U.S. Highway 24. Snow will continue through the afternoon, and visibility could be limited at times. You can check road conditions at candrive.gov. A winter weather advisory remains in effect until 6 p.m. Raleigh County Commissioners received an update Monday on a new relocation program aimed at attracting remote workers and new residents from outside Kansas. County Planner Amanda Webb says her office worked with the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce to administer the Make My Move Home in the Heartland Grant Program.
The webpage is live. People have been looking at it. Allison says she's received several questions and comments already. So people are seeing it. So that is good news.
Raleigh County is contracting with Make My Move to recruit 20 households into the county, securing local employment, paying at least $55,000. The program includes a $5,000 cash incentive, and county staff are also exploring potential non-cash incentives such as chamber event or a K-State activity pass. Commissioners pushed back on the idea of having a selection committee. John Ford said he prefer having Make My Move select finalists from the applicant pool.
The Make My Move people have been doing this for years. They know what the constraints and the requirements are for this particular grant. I don't believe anybody's going to be applying for this is going to fit outside of that realm.
Commissioners agreed that incentives should be retroactive for all approved applicants as new perks are added. Raleigh County Police arrested a Manhattan woman early Monday following an earlier report for criminal threat and drug offenses. Janet McCoy, 24, was investigated for suspicion of criminal threat and possession of both drug paraphernalia and an opioid as other controlled stimulant. Officers initially were dispatched to the home in the 5500 block of Stonecrest Court just before midnight on Saturday and brought her into custody around 1 a.m. Monday. McCoy remains jailed on a $6,000 bond. Raleigh County residents should now have their 2025 property tax statements.
Most everybody should have received their 2025 tax statements. They went out the second week of November. If you have not received a tax statement yet, please call our office.
First half property tax statements are due on December 22nd, since December 2nd falls on a Saturday this year. Payments postmarked by the 22nd will avoid penalties. Hager told county commissioners Monday there are several payment options available for taxpayers.
You can mail your checks to 110 Courthouse Plaza. You can use our drop box in front of the building, which sits right behind the mailbox. You can pay online with a credit or debit card. There'll be a 2.5% convenience fee on the amount that is charged with a minimum charge of $2.95. You can pay by e-check, which will also have a convenience fee of $1.50.
Payments can also be made via PayPal as well as over the phone and in person. Appointments are encouraged, but walk-ins are welcome for in-person payments. A Manhattan man was flown to Kansas City for treatment of multiple injuries last Wednesday following a single vehicle accident in northern Riley County. According to the Riley County Police Department, 30-year-old Scott Wohler rolled his Chevy Silverado in the 12,000 block of Green Randolph Road. An update on his condition wasn't provided.
K-Man News brought to you by L&L Advisors. Local, genuine, and here for you.
News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, overcast skies and 27 degrees with winds gusting to the west around 8 miles an hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of around 14 with calm winds to the west around 5 miles an hour. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 41 and going into Tuesday night, increasing clouds with a low of around 25. Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a high near 36 with light winds in the morning to the north that could gust as high as 20 miles an hour in the afternoon.
Man Daily Weather is presented by Fox Business Systems. How much does downtime cost you and your business? Don't let another second go by. Call Fox Business Systems at 776-1452.
Okay, so this is like our 16th Wildcat Insider so far, 25-26, and of course, every Monday or really every show, I always say, hey, text line, phone lines open, 785-537-1350. Text in question or comments, and there's no doubt with K-State struggles, we've been getting more and more and more, but it baffles me. It blows my mind how much heat Avery Johnson is getting in these questions and comments. Like thinking he's a bad quarterback. He is bad for this team. He should transfer. He's not worth the money he's getting paid. He should pay back what he got this season. Like Avery Johnson has been the problem. Like, it is shocking to me how heavy the heat is on Avery Johnson. So let's do this. Text yes or no, 785-537-1350. Should Avery Johnson transfer? Do you want Avery Johnson to transfer? Yes or no, 785-537-1350. Because again, we probably got 4 or 5 texts today about, negative stuff towards Avery Johnson. Just another Dylan Edwards was one of the, the comments we got. He always,
so wrong.
It's amazing to me how people think the problem is on Avery Johnson's shoulders. He's been better this year. Passing completion is up.
Interceptions are down.
The interceptions are down. I feel like at times he has been put in a bad spot to go make a play. As I thought, a lot of no's are coming in. Okay, good. I'll calm down a little bit. It just feels like, man, everything negative. A lot of the negative responses we're getting are about Avery. I think you're looking at the wrong part of the puzzle here as to what's been going on. All right, so it's all no's across the board right now. We actually just got a comment about the Wildcat NIL reaction. We actually talked about that in the first hour for a good 20-25 minutes. So please go check out the podcast, newsradiokman.com, or just search for the Game on 1350 K-Man on wherever you think or wherever you get your podcast. Just search for the show. You'll hear hour 1 of the podcast. We did just get one yes. I love Avery. He's literally our best player.
Yeah.
Don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
he's good. He's very good.
Yeah,
Somebody tweeted it out like he and Will Howard almost have identical numbers.
Yeah, except Avery's a little better in one less game.
Yeah, Avery just a little bit better, less interceptions for sure. Will had a problem there for a while, especially early on of throwing some picks. That's for sure. But it was quite crazy how close those numbers are. And Avery's played one less game. Avery still is 1 passing touchdown away from the program record for most passing touchdowns in a career. It didn't help at all that even last year we were putting Heisman Trophy candidate hype around him, and it was his first year as a starting quarterback. And maybe that's on us. But it wasn't just us. It was also the nation putting that kind of tag on him as well. All right, let's get to we ready to go. Wyatt Thompson standing by from Bramlage Coliseum. He is the voice of the Cats. Wyatt, what do you think? Is Avery Johnson a good quarterback?
Absolutely, yeah. I've been sitting here listening to you guys, and it's interesting to
have you have the perception that so many people want him to, move on or transfer, whatever you want to say. I don't have that feel at all. But again, I probably don't follow social media like you guys do. And I do agree with what you said, that I think he was a better quarterback this year than he was a year ago. And I think he still has a lot of good days ahead of him, regardless of, what happens moving forward. And I think his numbers, speak for themselves. Is he an accomplished, product at this point? Oh, I think you could argue that all day long. He has been better, no question. When you start crunching his numbers compared to other quarterbacks at K-State, he's in the upper 6 or 8% probably. So I guess you have to decide as a fan, which side of the fence you're on. But I still think that he has a lot of good football ahead of him.
If I were to bring this up in a press conference, it would be so bad on my part. I'll ask you the question, and I do wonder if it's for you a tough question to answer. You've seen a lot of great quarterbacks, but he did. Will Howard leaves and Avery Johnson takes over in 2024. Do you think Avery is a more talented quarterback than Will Howard?
Well, I think in some ways he is, yes. And they're hard to compare because they're so different. I think you'll agree with this, but maybe you won't. I think there was a time when Will first got here that people thought he was a runner, and I think it turned out that he's a better thrower than he is a runner. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think Avery can be a really good thrower at some point, and I think he's made, as I said, some improvements. But, I believe his best attribute, just, God-given skill set-wise, is as a runner. And I've always thought that, and I don't think I've come off of that stance watching the 2025 season.
What does 6-6 this year mean to you, Wyatt?
Well, I'm like everybody else. I think, or at least most everybody else, in that, the expectations were so high, and I understood it. I too thought that we had, a lot of pieces and could be a really good football team and could compete at the highest level in this league, and maybe even if things went well, compete for a playoff spot in the CFP. But unfortunately, when you're 1-5 in one-score games, you're probably going to fall short, which is what K-State did. They've been pretty inconsistent. I think everybody would recognize that. So, there's a big part of me that's going to say, compared to preseason expectations, I would say, yeah, you probably are disappointed. But after a 2-4 start, the way they finished to get bowl eligible, I think is admirable, but not everybody sees it that way either. They have flaws. The offensive line hasn't performed as well as I thought it would, but neither has the defensive front. There are a lot of reasons for it. Am I kind of hitting on some good points there, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, as I said right before we wrapped up the first hour, my mind does go back to a couple of things when I think about what has gone wrong this year. But to be quite honest with you, it's probably a little bit of 15 or 20 different things that have added up to the season not going well.
Yeah, and again, injuries are part of it. We've had issues with special teams at times, the offensive line, defensive line, but, we've been breaking in, 2 new corners, and I think Zayshawn has had his moments where he's been terrific. But I think his best football is still ahead of him. I think Donovan McIntosh is an example. I think it's been a learning and trying experience for him. And yet, I think he's got a chance to be an awfully fine player before he's done. We saw Marlon Portenberry come on later after really struggling early with health issues. And again, people don't like to hear this kind of stuff, but when you lose through the course of the year, probably your 2 best defensive players with Toby Osunsami and Austin Romaine, you're going to feel that. Right? I mean, that's just the nature of it. So there's been a lot on the table, and I think that's a large part of why people, have some disappointment, and I understand it.
Let me ask you one more football question. What has Joe Jackson shown you recently?
Say that one more time.
What has Joe Jackson shown you here in recent games?
Well, I think Joe has showed me that he's more than capable of being a real quality K-State /Big 12 running back. And I say that because I think he's gotten better on so many different levels. I mean, the last couple of weeks, everybody has seen what he did at Utah and what he did against Colorado. And really, the truth is, and Coach Kleiman touched on this with the media afterwards and with us on the postgame radio show, those yards on Saturday were a lot different than they were in Salt Lake. He had some gaping holes in Salt Lake 2 weeks ago, and he really earned what he got on Saturday. I think he's a good receiver. I think he's turning into a more cerebral player. I think he's done a real good job, and I think he's a guy you can bank on in 2026. I don't know how you see it, but that's the way I see it.
Well, I just, if it's, let's say we're around Texas Tech or TCU, around those games, I never would have guessed that he would be top 5 or 6 in rushing in the Big 12.
Yeah, and I understand that. He's well. Let's go back in time and when you think about the Dylan Edwards situation, and you're the number 2 guy, and then all of a sudden you're the 1 guy. Think about how different that is, and I don't know that he handled that exceptionally well early on, but I think he grew into it, and I think the numbers would tell you that. So I'm a fan of Joe's because I see his work ethic and his toughness and his commitment to this team. If you heard his comments, about the seniors on Saturday with us after the ball game, I mean, he's all in, man. Or at least that's my perception of what he is right now. I think he's a heck of a good teammate. He's turning into a really good player.
Well, he's almost just as quiet as DJ Giddens. I think he's starting to warm up. He's saying, he's giving us more detailed answers, but yeah, he's a quiet guy too.
Yeah, he is, and it took a long time for DJ to, even with his teammates to kind of break out a little bit, and I think success and that kind of stuff is a big part of how much you're going to talk in a lot of cases. Joe didn't say a whole heck of a lot early; said quite a bit more late, and I think results are a part of that too. Frankly.
Over to basketball, how was of course, didn't get the win, but, how was Assembly Hall? How was that experience?
I really love the arena, and I thought that I would. It's such a unique place. I've been so fortunate being at Division I since 1989 and being in a lot of really, really cool facilities. But the high ceiling and just the way it's constructed, but also just the aura of the place, with being a 5-time national champion, that kind of stuff, having that unbeaten team 50 years ago in 1976, and some of the great players that they've had there over the course of time, and great coaches too, for that matter. And it, you get the students weren't around very much because it was right before Thanksgiving, and they still probably had 13 or 14,000 in that 17,000 seat arena. So that's pretty impressive, and they're they haven't been on a national stage like they were at one point, but that doesn't mean they're not capable of getting back there, because I've always felt that they are. You got to have all of that fit together with coaching too, and I think they've got a good one now.
So K-State about to play 3 straight at home before the Creighton road trip, and it's 3 games against quad 3 or 4s. Like, for example, tonight, Bowling Green is a quad 3 game. K-State comes out with a net ranking of 55, which, I would say that probably puts them right as a bubble team. I would say right now for the NCAA tournament, where they stand right now with, of course, work to do. Cats coming off 2 losses. Where do you think K-State needs more work to be done now, like to get better on either end of the floor?
Well, they've got a lot of work to do with the rebounding and the defense, and they continue to work on that. At shoot-around today, Coach Tang told me that he was really excited about how the guys have practiced the last 3 days in preparation for this game. Now what you have to do is the obvious, and that's take it to the game floor, right? I think they learned some things in the last couple of games. They got off to slow starts in both games. I think Nebraska and Indiana are kind of what they are. They're like K-State. They're, still trying to make their way too. But when you get down like K-State did the other night, 20-4, and fight back and get back to within 26-24, even though you fall short, I think it says you've got some toughness to you. But you've got to, they're really struggling defensively inside the 2-point arc, the 3-point arc, I should say. They've got to get better there, and they've got to rebound at a better clip. And I'll throw turnovers in there too. I think Coach is looking for a clean game tonight. So the interesting part for me is I've studied Bowling Green for the last week or so. I've watched a couple of their games a couple of times, and they're not talent void. They have some size. They have some. They're picked, I think, 7th in the MAC, but I think they feel like they can be better than that. I like their point guard a lot. He's a really tough kid that gets to the rim. His name is Javante Campbell. He's from Muskogee, Oklahoma. Good player. I think they're really going to compete. They average turning people over about 20 times a game. We'll see how K-State handles that, too.
I just looked up the numbers before we started the hour. Bowling Green is the number 1 defense in college basketball at forcing turnovers.
Yeah. And when I was looking at that in preparation for the game, and the turnovers, they only commit 12.9, but they force 20.4.
Yeah.
That is a whole lot, even if you are just 7 games in. And you can say what you want, but I would profess to you that the 2 games that I watched, and I didn't see the VMI game from Wednesday, but their losses to Davidson and William and Mary, they were 91-87 and 82-74 games. So they've won the other 5 and have been pretty close in those others. So I think they're a representative team. I don't want to make them out to be, the mid-70s UCLA bunch, but I think they're going to come in here and fight. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's my thought exactly, because they haven't necessarily played, a tough schedule. Honestly, it feels like a pretty soft schedule. I mean, what does VMI
Absolutely.
even stand for? Is
Virginia Military Institute. Yeah. Did you not know that, really?
I didn't know that, no. Did you know that, Tim?
You didn't know that?
I did know that, yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I'm the loser here. I don't know anything about sports. I don't know just how much I invest in the numbers. But I also said that maybe about a couple of the other teams in the past, and then I looked foolish. So I don't know. But I do worry about more the Bowling Green defense, because they do have some pretty staggering numbers offensively. What do you think? Are they an average team at best right now?
Well, I think they're probably a little bit above average because they do have some size, but it's all about making shots. And they've got, like I mentioned, the Campbell kid, he's only 4 out of 15 from 3. This is not a real great three-point shooting team, but they're plus 5 in the rebounding. They're plus 7.6 on turnovers, as we mentioned. How about this? They average 13.4 steals a game. So they're going to get after you and play hard. But the question is can they shoot 40 or 45% or better and really make a game of it? That's what that's probably the unknown going in.
What's VMI's mascot?
Ooh, let me think. Do we know VMI's mascot? I don't think I know that off the top of my head, and I probably should, but I don't. I bet Tim can look it up.
I'm looking it up right now.
I don't have a clue.
They are the Keydets, Keydets, like cadets, and their physical mascot is Mo the kangaroo.
Oh,
there you go.
So there you go.
Well, there's your VMI segment of the week. All right, Wyatt, we'll let you go, and
right,
we'll see you in Bramlage here in a few. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Good talking to you, fellas. Take care.
All right, that's voice of the Cats, Wyatt Thompson. The doors in Bramlage open in 37 minutes. I wonder if anybody's outside waiting to get in right now.
I hope not, man.
The snow, it's cold. Are the students back? Students are back, right? They had school today? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
I should probably look towards who are in school and just graduated. All right, let's take a break. Shout out to VMI. Look, if you think you're all smart, what's their address?
They had a live kangaroo in the 40s. Like their mascot. They had a live kangaroo.
Probably more competitive than their basketball team.
Man.
I doubt VMI has ever been good at anything. All right, and while Tim looks that up during the break, we'll take a break. And when we come back, MitchPom, official prediction versus Bowling Green. A little more detail about the Bowling Green Falcons when we come back. Cut that. Wildcat Insider on KMAN.
You're listening to Wildcat Insider.
My name is Heidi Dixon. Mom, Jackie Wolf, was the patient of interim hospice I live in Texas, and after Mom got on hospice, when I came back to Texas, interim was a huge lifeline for me in terms of information. Maria, the social worker, was a dream. Going every other week, sharing a picture and what Mom was doing and what was she saying and what was she looking forward to. And she brought us right into the room with Mom. And she said when she was planning to go next. And as a hospice worker in Texas, I was asking our social workers, are we doing this? This is amazing. She was so engaged with Mom and so connected the dots for us. That was invaluable. Aside from Mom's increasing comfort with the pain management provided by hospice, the social work connection and support, those were the two most visible benefits that I continue to be exceedingly grateful for.
We care, we're there, interim health care.
Medicare's annual enrollment is here, October 15th through December 7th. It's your chance to review or change your prescription drug plan. Premiums, copays, and even which medications are covered can change every year. Don't risk paying more or having your prescriptions left out. I'm Malia McKinney with L&L Advisors. I'll compare your plans side by side to make sure your medications are covered at the best cost. Local, genuine, and here for you. Call 785-280-9621 today.
At ESB Financial, we think it makes sense to pay you. That's right, get paid 5.04% annual percentage yield on balances up to $20,000 with our free Kasasa Cash checking account. We'll even refund your ATM fees nationwide, and the best part is there's no monthly service charges or minimum balances to keep. All you have to do to earn your rewards are a few simple things each month. The best part? These things make banking easier. Visit esbfinancial.com to learn more. Special terms may apply. ESB Financial, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show comes to your radio every Friday morning at 10 a.m. We will discuss timely gardening and landscape topics to help you keep your lawn and garden in tip-top shape. Blueville Nursery has been your local landscape service and garden store for over 50 years, and we want to share our time-tested techniques with you. From vegetable gardening, spring and summer annuals, to shade trees and lawn care, we'll cover it all. You're welcome to call into the show to ask questions that apply to your own landscape or garden. Stay tuned to Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. right here on News Radio KMAN.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wild lands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
The Ramsey Show.
How do I protect myself from inheriting a timeshare?
So basically a timeshare is a liability. It's a bill. So you're not going to end up owning this because you won't sign the transfer papers. They may take some of the parents' assets because it's very hard to get rid of. And one lawyer calls it legalized fraud. You can't give us enough money to take it. It's a poison pill.
Life and money advice. The Ramsey Show, weekdays from 10 to 1 on News Radio KMAN.
I'm Gavin Hyatt with a Wildcats Insider Sports Update brought to you by Bottle Cap Sports Bar. A strong second half in winter conditions sent K-State football out of regular season on a high note Saturday, as Wildcats fought past Colorado for a 24-14 win on Senior Day. Coming off a record-setting performance in K-State's heartbreaking loss at Utah, running back Joe Jackson ran for 142 yards on 26 carries, good for 5.5 yards per touch. He also scored on all 3 of K-State's touchdowns. Avery Johnson added 36 yards in the ground. Avery also had 115 yards through the air on 10 of 17 passing. Despite Colorado outgaining K-State by 2 yards, the KSU defense held CU to 3.2 yards per carry. Ryan Davis had 2 sacks, and CU was 1 of 5 on 4th down. K-State volleyball found out their fate for the NCAA tournament during the selection show yesterday. K-State was a third team announced for the NCAA tournament, taking on San Diego this Friday at 4:30 in Lincoln, Nebraska. Coming off 3 losses to Nebraska and Indiana, 5-2 K-State men's basketball will open a 3-game homestand tonight to host 5-2 Bowling Green and Bramlage. Bowling Green enters tonight winners of 2 straight. The Falcons are one of the best teams in the country in turning teams over, as they rank first nationally in turnovers forced a game and steals a game. Tonight's tip at 7 o'clock, pregame at 6 on 101.5 K-Rock and News Radio KMAN.
Here's MitchPom with tonight's prediction.
Oh, y'all, a correction here. Bowling Green actually now number 3 in the country at forcing turnovers. I just saw the updated. Now I had to update the calendar here to get the updated stats. I had it 1 game prior. Bowling Green averaging 18.3 forced turnovers per game. Ahead of them, Iowa State at 18.4. Florida State has forced 20.4. Here's the deal about Bowling Green. I'll just give you this one thing here real quick. It's a little bit inflated because they played a D2 school called Bethany out of New York, and they forced 33 turnovers in that game. So a little bit inflated, but they are good. They're good at that. So K-State 5-2, Bowling Green is 5-2. K-State's net ranking came out today, 55. Probably puts them on the bubble, probably on the outside looking in. Bowling Green 111, so this will be a quad 3 game, and the Cats are 1-0 in quad 3s. Old Mississippi State. Turns out they're probably not very good. First meeting all time between K-State and Bowling Green. This will be the first meeting for K-State against a MAC school since Northern Illinois, December of 2005. I don't even think Gavin was even born yet. Were you born in 2005? You're still in Huggies, I'm sure. All right, let's take a look at what the Cats are up to. As a matter of fact, actually just kind of making the Bowling Green comparison, of course, Marcus Johnson, who was the best player for Bowling Green last year. I mean, he was an all-MAC performer, led the team in like 5 categories, including a team best 16.2 points per game, has not seen the floor once for K-State. And correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't even play in the exhibitions.
Yeah, allegedly he is on this team.
I've seen him.
I have seen him. He goes through warm-ups. But yeah, no, he has not played a minute of basketball either that counts or does not count for K-State since he arrived in Manhattan.
K-State is coming off 2 losses, though. They lost to Nebraska in the championship of the Hall of Fame Classic, losing to Indiana at Assembly Hall a week ago. Nate Johnson is pretty familiar with playing against Bowling Green because he was at Akron for 3 seasons. Beat him 4 times. Including in the first round of the MAC tournament last year, 96-67. Bowling Green, they were, as Wyatt said, picked to finish 7th in the MAC this year. The reigning champion is Akron. They are coming off 2 wins in the Fort Myers tip-off, beating Bucknell by 5, and Virginia Military Institute, that doesn't have a women's basketball program, beat them 81-48. But they do have 2 losses this year to Davidson and William and Mary. A lot of names.
Only 2 guys? That's crazy. Normally you got to have at least 5 out there.
That's true. Great dad joke there,
Thank
Tim.
you. Thank
You're
you
on
so
one
much.
today. I got one coming up here for you as well. Not really a dad joke, but wait till you get to famous alumni here. All right, so as a team, the Falcons, they're 3rd in the nation in forcing turnovers. They are 1st in the country at steals per game at 13.5. Again, inflated because of the Bethany D2 win where they forced 33 turnovers. They had like 21 steals in that game. They are, their turnover margin is plus 7.5. which is something. Fast break points, they're good at that as well. They are 14th in the country in fast breaks at 20 points per game. But again, they've played a pretty soft schedule. This is by far and away, not even close, their biggest challenger of the year so far. But they have forced at least 14 turnovers in every game so far. They've hit 21 threes in the last 2 games. 2 guys hit 3 each. 20 offensive rebounds in their last game. They're good at guarding threes as well. 3-point defense is 30.1%. All right, so there's a handful of guys that obviously stand out about Bowling Green. As Wyatt said, Javonte Campbell, their leading scorer at 17.5 per game. He joined Nate Johnson last year as a member of the MAC all-defensive team. He leads the team with 28 steals on the year. And last season, he broke the program's single-season record for steals with 90. 90. That is Marquise Noel.
Yeah, that's a
type
lot.
of numbers, folks.
That's a lot.
That was fourth in the country. Fourth in the country in steals last year. So he's going to be probably a bit of a problem for K-State there on the offensive end for the Cats. There was a 6'4 guard, Josiah Shackelford, who comes from a D2 school. He's a transfer in this year, averaging 13 a game. 6'9 forward Sam Towns is a sixth-year senior. Fourth year with Bowling Green, and he's averaging 12.7 rebounds per game. He only played 6 games last year, had a season cut short. And then there's Mayer Wall, who I think is actually the X factor in this game. He's a 6'8 forward. He comes off the bench, averaging 13 points a game. He transferred in from Eastern Kentucky, where he was the A-Sun 6th man of the year, and he's their best three-point shooter. And again, he's coming off the bench, folks. Best three-point shooter at 56%. He has made 14 this year. He had 5 against Virginia Military Institute, the Fighting Cadets, as we're calling them. All right, let's get to famous alumni. This is the joke I wanted to make here. The first famous alumni is Robert Patrick.
Okay.
Tim?
Are
we
we talking
Robert Hammond Patrick.
Robert. Is that Dallas? Robert Patrick? Or is that...
I don't think so.
Why help me out
Robert
here.
Patrick. He played the T-1000 in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The joke there is he's going to be going around Bramlage holding up a picture of Marcus Johnson. He's going to be, have you seen this boy? That's the joke.
That's good.
Because we haven't seen Marcus Johnson on the field, and he's from Bowling Green. All right, our second is Rick Ocasek. Ocasek from?
Lead singer of the Cars.
Yep, the Cars, but he passed away a couple of years ago. I do like the Cars. MitchPom is a big fan of the Cars. And then final famous alumni for Bowling Green is Doc Emmerich.
I don't.
Oh, damn.
That one evades me.
I'm not the biggest hockey fan. I do like some playoff hockey, but he was the voice of hockey on NBC and NBCSN. He was calling Stanley Cups. Doc Emmerich is one of my favorite play-by-play voices of all time. He retired, I think, about 5 years ago. He's in his mid-70s now. The dude is a legend. And if it wasn't for hockey, I'm sure more people would be more familiar with Doc Emmerich. He is one of the best. One of the best. He is a top 5 play-by-play for me.
Nice.
So you would think, Mitch Pom, big fan of this famous alumni, could this get Bowling Green over the hump? There's a couple of things I worry about with K-State right now. They're coughing up the ball way too much. They get sloppy with the basketball. That's a major problem against a team like this that forces turnovers. But also K-State's 2-point defense is garbaggio.
It's bad.
It's garbaggio. They're one of the worst teams in the country in 2-point defense. It is right now over 70%. It's really bad. It's really bad. So K-State obviously needs to continue to get better. But can K-State provide a bit of an offensive explosion? I think they'll need that. Ken Palm has given K-State an 88% chance of winning this game tonight. Cats win it 86-73. I'm actually going to bring that number down.
Oh.
I'm going to bring that number down a little bit because I need to see a lot of improvement. It's not by much. I'm going to say Cats got an 85% chance of winning this game tonight. I think Cats get it done 84-74.
All right.
84-74. I know it's a little bit too close of a quad 3 margin. You would like an absolute butt kicking tonight.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to see.
That would be a tad discouraging if it's only a 10-point win.
Yeah, I don't know. If they're really that good on defense.
Yeah, for
K-State
sure.
should be a better team, but K-State also kind of has the vulnerability to cough it up too much in a game like this. So,
Plus, it's a game that, who cares about Bowling Green? Who knows how many people will be there with the cold and the weather today?
Probably won't be that great.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a break. But I do have the Cats winning, and right now MitchPom is 6-0 on the year. Looking for win number 76 all-time tonight. We'll take a break. I'm stepping out. Tim and Cole are going to take over the rest of the way so I can get out to Bramlage. I'll have more of Wildcat Insider coming up next on KMAN.
You're listening to Wildcat Insider, ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
Somewhere, and I don't have any inside information, but somewhere deep inside, Lane Kiffin must be enjoying this as the new head coach of LSU after leaving Ole Miss over the weekend. Now, he'll say the right things, that he wanted to coach his team into the playoff. He has a great affinity for people in Oxford. LSU was an opportunity he could not pass up. I believe him to the nth degree that he believes each and everything of what he said over the weekend before leaving Ole Miss about to go to college football playoff to take over LSU. That doesn't mean he does not mind the attention, because this is going to be good for him, getting LSU to be in the championship team, championship program that they believe they can be, and not just in the SEC. Lane Kiffin has always been a man about opportunity. He's also been a man about having that kind of focus on him and maybe diverting that focus from what's really important. What kind of players are you going to bring to make a champion out of LSU? In 60 seconds, time in Pittsburgh.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Boy, that conversation, that drum beat was going boom, 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 boom regarding Mike Tomlin, the now coach of Pittsburgh Steelers, and how much that now should be there for him being in charge of the organization. It was ugly how the Buffalo Bills ran all over the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, the highest paid defense in the National Football League. And the minute that happened and the whole fire Tomlin chants were heard throughout the TV broadcast on CBS, that word time was going to come up in terms of, is it time for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin to move on from each other? Now, normally I would say, calm down. But more than ever before, sometimes a change is good. Maybe Mike Tomlin needs to find a different challenge. Maybe the Steelers need to find somebody else. This way, no one can say you're just worried about being just average, just being well-to-do, being a championship contender. Maybe the time has come, but the only people who know about that time will be the Steelers and Mike Tomlin and not anybody else. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
For area high school scores, recaps, league standings, and coach interviews, check out Scoreboard Saturday at 8 a.m. during football and basketball season, including coverage of the Centennial League, NCKL, Big East League, Flint Hills League, and the Twin Valley League. Scoreboard Saturday on News Radio KMAN is powered by WTC Communications.
News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, overcast skies and 27 with wind out of the west at around 7 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low around 14, and that wind just at around 5 miles an hour. That should be calming down over the course of the evening. Tomorrow, sunny and a high near 41. Tomorrow night, increasing clouds, a low around 25. Heading to Wednesday, winds back to gusting as high as 20 miles an hour with mostly cloudy skies and a high near 36. Now, Tim, I have to ask, do you know why I'm coming back with Enter Sandman?
Are we talking about Virginia Tech?
Well, no, this is a bullpen game. I'm Mariano Rivera today.
Oh.
Coming in late.
No, I like that.
Entering at the very
That's
end
good.
of the show, Cole Dutchendorf with
That's
you.
good.
Tim Everson, Mitch Fortner on his way to Bramlage as we speak to PA for K-State in Bowling Green tonight as K-State tries to get back on the winning side of things. Granted, Bowling Green not quite the team that Indiana on the road and Nebraska have been so far this season. Those two teams still have not lost a game combined, if memory serves. Indiana currently number 21 as the AP poll that was released today. Before we get into this week in the Big 12, there's really only one important one on the football side of things. So we'll talk a little bit about kind of the circumstances surrounding what will happen in the CFP, because I think it is kind of intriguing. It shouldn't be, because I think both teams should be locks with wins or losses, but I don't think that's what it's going to turn out to as it currently stands. But before we get into that, Tim, my question for you is, would you have let Lane Kiffin coach out the rest of the CFP?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do I want someone who is going to be taking over a team that has been a power in my conference with full knowledge that he is leaving, with full access to my entire roster and recruits? No. Lane doesn't get whatever he wants, That's not how things work.
It's been such an interesting story to follow along with and watch it unfold. And not even necessarily interesting in terms of what's going to happen. It's just kind of turned into a circus, or maybe a car wreck would be a better way of describing it. Where it's you can't help but watch a car accident happen. It's just slow motion with both parties throwing haymakers back and forth. With Lane Kiffin now being introduced just hours ago at LSU with saying, completely respects the decision-making process, but there's also all the stuff about he's potentially not blackmailing isn't the word, but the ultimatums allegedly given towards his offensive staff with either get on the plane or you're not guaranteed to have a job, I guess, with whoever the next head coach is for Ole Miss. So it's just been very interesting to see this go down, and I think there is a huge issue in college football with, this is the first time it's happened like this, where you've had a CFP team that's had a coach take a job somewhere else before the season's even over. So I don't know, it's pretty unprecedented in that sense, but you got to think there's got to be some better way for this to happen in the future.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I don't even know who's going to call plays for them.
Yeah.
They promoted Pete Golding, who is their defensive coordinator, which I think is a fine move.
Seems to be popular among the team and among people surrounding the program.
Well, especially the situation. There's just not a lot of good options.
Right.
You don't want to do a full-on, because of how Lane decided to handle this, you don't really, all the good candidates are gone. And who are you going to poach that's kind of better than that? So it's a good option. But, imagine being a player on that team. This is, by far the most successful Ole Miss team since integration. And you have a legitimate chance. There's no far and away, national
Best
championship
team.
favorite. Sure. So you have a good of a chance as anybody. You were going to make the playoff to try and win a national title, and now not only do you lose your head coach to go over to your conference rival, you do it before the playoff even starts, and he takes the entire offensive coaching staff with him. So, I don't know. I'm fascinated to see how they're going to figure that out. You just got to feel bad for the players because this is an awful situation that they've been put in.
We saw Florida State be taken out of, it wasn't necessarily, I guess it was technically the CFP, but it wasn't the CFP as we now know it. That was when it had 4 teams when Jordan Travis broke his leg late in the season, and they were an undefeated Power 5 champion and were taken out of the top 4. Alabama replaced them. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised. I don't think they're going to drop out of the rankings. Their only loss is on the road to Georgia. That's their only blemish this season. So I don't think they're going to fall out of the rankings, but they could go from hosting a first-round CFP game to now on the road, and I don't think that's a small thing in terms of, what that means for their road to a potential national championship, but also looking at Oxford, Mississippi specifically, I'm going to guess the economic boost from an extra home game, and by the way, it's a playoff game for the college football national championship. That's going to be a big hit too. So a lot of a lot of fallout that's not thought about from this. So it's just been a circus over the past couple of weeks, really, and then obviously over the weekend that only ramped up even further. But another circus that we've seen kind of unfolding, Tim, like that segue there, is BYU. It is still, an AP poll doesn't mean a bunch at this point in time, but they are 11-1 with their one loss was on the road to a team that's going to be probably a top 4 seed in Texas Tech. And right now, they have on the most recent percentage chance to make the CFP, I believe it was 35%, and I think that's criminal. I think that they have, if you played the blind resume test, I think that they are by far and away of those at-large teams better than any of the 2-loss teams, because you can say, yeah, Bama had some maybe tougher wins, but also they have the worst loss currently in the CFP with their loss at Florida State to open the season.
Absolutely.
BYU, again, the only loss BYU has is Texas Tech. They've also played a ton of teams with 7 or more wins. I think it's the most in the country in terms of wins over teams with 7 or more wins on the season, with 6. They've beaten a couple of ranked teams. Utah is right behind them in the rankings. They beat Utah at home. So I think that the disrespect, Notre Dame, they haven't really beaten anyone. I guess Pitt, we just saw what Pitt was made of last weekend. So I think it's been frustrating, yes, as a Big 12 fan, but also just kind of as someone who enjoys integrity to see kind of what's happened to BYU, because they might not get in. I think they kind of have to win. Otherwise, I think ESPN and the powers that be are going to probably screw them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I also think that if they were to win, I think Texas Tech would be out.
You think?
I think so.
I think Texas Tech would stay in, but I do think BYU is going to get eliminated if they lose, and I think it'd be a travesty.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and it is, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I just don't see, with just what you hear from people, I don't know. It could get crazy with the ACC situation.
If Duke wins,
that could eliminate an entire conference from it. So I just, you think that having 2 guaranteed spots per conference isn't that much to ask, but apparently it is. I don't know. I hate it. I really do. I do think that for whatever reason, the media campaigns, the convincing, the Big 12 and SEC propaganda works. It works.
You look at the teams around BYU right now too. Texas has 3 losses. I think Texas, as much as Sarkisian has groveled and the SEC media has tried to pander, I think they are out. I don't think there's any chance that they get in. I think Vanderbilt is right on that bubble. A&M, they don't really have a better resume than BYU in terms of what they've done over the course of the season. A&M hasn't beaten a team with their winning record in conference play because they played all the bottom feeders all season long in the SEC. They played one real team who, by the way, went to Florida and lost in Texas and lost by 2 scores. So I think it's a travesty what's happening, and I really hope that BYU gets in, but I'm not going to be surprised if they lose to Texas Tech, which I think they will, that they're going to be on the outside looking in. I think it's going to be a travesty.
Yeah. No, I'm not hopeful at all, unfortunately. It does not seem like it's heading in that direction, and that is sad.
The game is going to be at 11 a.m. on Saturday. That'll be a fun one to watch. I think if BYU keeps it close to the end, they've got a chance. That defense is really good, and the Tech offense isn't where they get most of their damage done. It's on the defensive side of the ball, so who knows if Bayer can get some points on the board. We'll see what happens. A couple of notable basketball games to look at for the coming week. I'll have you know, Tim, I was preparing for this segment, and I didn't realize for a good 10 minutes that I was looking at women's basketball schedules. And by the way, there's no marquee matchups on the women's basketball side of things. There is nothing.
Not until Sunday. Not until the K-State women play Ole Miss in St. Joe, Missouri.
Yeah, there is not a whole lot on the women's basketball side of things, but a few on the men's side of things. The first one tomorrow, number 5 UConn heading to Lawrence to face Kansas, and then also for KU, they've also got the border war on Sunday, so a big week for KU. That'll be a couple of fun ones. And by the way, KU looked like they got back on track at the Players Era tournament. The first 2, whatever, but then the Tennessee win, that's a big one. And I still think they're not playing with DP.
I think they were getting them back for the UConn game. I thought
but they didn't play during those 3 games with 3 Power 4 wins, and the biggest one, obviously, Tennessee without Darren Peterson. So they look legit, and for them to get that win, good for them. Just in terms of the vibe of the team, because you're like, oh man, what's kind of the status going to be with our best player, potential number 1 draft pick, kind of just indefinitely on the sideline. Elsewhere in play, the biggest one is probably Iowa State at Purdue. That's 10 versus 1. That's a huge one. Iowa State looked really good in the Players Era. Purdue has looked darn near untouchable early in this season. And the final one, number 20 Auburn at number 2 Arizona. That's a late night game. That is a 9 o'clock in Arizona on Saturday as well. So a couple of fun ones in the Big 12 this week, but nothing like earth-shattering or anything.
Yeah, I mean, the KU UConn is exciting. I'm excited to tune into that one for sure. And
again, the status of Darren Peterson is kind of still up in the air. We'll see what happens with him moving forward, because there's no questioning the talent that he has. Now, that does it for today's edition of Wildcat Insider. We got a full show planned tomorrow, and I believe 2 full hours both tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. It'll be off on Friday, as I will be in Hayes for Manhattan in the Hayes City Shootout. Going to be a fun one for the first basketball games of the year for Manhattan. And by the way, if you're just now hearing, Manhattan High football coming home with a 6A state championship last Saturday in the cold, in the wind with that win. So for Tim, for Mitch, who's headed to Bramlage right now, I'm Cole. We'll see you tomorrow.
Getting you closer to the locker room than anyone else. This is Wildcat Insider. Wildcat Insider, an exclusive presentation of the flagship station of the K-State Sports Network. News Radio 1350, KMAN.
Little Apple Chorus and Heartland Harmony presents Holiday Harmonies. This year's concert will be Sunday, December 14th in Forum Hall at the K-State Student Union. The doors open at 2:30